Fellow Southern Cameroonians, I bring you revolutionary greetings. I guess some of you will realize that the smile that used to accompany my discussions with you has returned. Do not ask me so quickly while I've regained my smile, because you definitely will understand that I regained my smile because it's becoming clearer and clearer that despite what a lot of people will see as disorder, disagreement, infighting, and all whatnot among us, our struggle is right on course. Despite the difficulties that we are facing, we're trying to put our acts together that everyone should be able to come together in some kind of very strong and sincere collaboration. Our struggle is right on course. This struggle is very much on course because of the resilience, because of the determination, and because of the attitude of our brothers and sisters on ground zero, who have told themselves that right now, given the state of affairs, they have their destiny right in their hands. And they have come also to the understanding that the Southern Cameroonian, the Ambazonian, has no other person to count on but ourselves. That before we wait for others to come in and join us, for others to come and give us that kind of impetus that is needed to finish this very important race, we have to do a good lot of the work, a good portion of the job by ourselves. Now, I know in some quarters where people were already getting so discouraged, where people were already telling themselves this thing is over, where people were already saying we really can't measure up to anything, especially with the abduction of Sisiku Ayuktabe and the members of his cabinet that occurred on the 5th of January 2018 at Nera Hotel in Abuja. I mean, there was a lot of feast and fanfare on the side of the people of La République du Cameroon. Today, they are coming to terms. They are beginning to understand that they buttered themselves to capture the moderates, while those who really had matters in their hands on the ground are determined and are forging on. My dear brothers and sisters, there comes a time in a battle like this one where we sit down and come to the realization that we are stronger together, where we come to the realization that the only way that we can be stronger together, that we can work together, is by looking at each other in the face, eyeball to eyeball, telling ourselves some very important truths without bothering whoever this truth really hurts. The point I'm raising here is when we play around the gallery, when we do what we are fighting against, when we decide to play politics when we should actually be putting our heads together, reminding ourselves each time that this is a revolution, we shoot ourselves in the leg. I say so because the ostrich game that we have actually observed among some of our leadership isn't helping us at all. But all the same, I say that while this game is going on, it is important for every other actor at whatever level you are to continue to concentrate, focus on the struggle, refuse to be distracted. I am one of those that have refused to be distracted. I know that there will come a moment where whether we like it or not, whether these leaders like it or not, they will do what is okay in the sight of the people and in the sight of God. There will come a time where they will realize that to earn our support, they will have to do what we want. They will have to function the way we desire them to function. That said, I want to remind us that despite all of this, we are winning. We are winning and winning soundly. I know some will ask me, but how are we winning? Just take a look at Mr. Paul Biya's economy. Recently, all of us witnessed that the country could not make up 400 million CFA funds to organize an international cycling tour. That was a traditional race that always takes place in Cameroon. You will realize that even some international athletes were already on the ground for the race just when it was cancelled. They couldn't make up that money. The senatorial election is built for the 25th. That is in 2 days, because I'm talking today on the 23rd of March. But some very important organs that are supposed to be participating, supposed to be doing some very important work concerning these elections, are yet to receive one white franc. I insist, one white CFA franc from the government treasury, because there is no money. Right now, most of the projects relating to the organization of the AFCON, of the Africa Cup of Nations, next year in La République du Cameroon, the projects are stagnating because there is no money. What has suddenly happened to money? I pointed out here some time ago that all we needed to do was to be resilient, that all we needed to do was to remain steadfast, because I have worked in that administration for 19 years. I know so well the mode of operation of the top guns of that country. Corruption is at its highest, and I predicted that the military will clear the government treasury right down to zero, because they know that Mr. Paul Biya depends only on them, the military, and he cannot question anyone. Even if it is reported that this general or that one had carted billions, nothing will be done to him. So they are aware. So they are clearing the government treasury. They have cleared it to the point where soon Mr. Biya may not be able to pay his civil servants. You will realize that Mr. Biya will only be able to pay civil servants perhaps for the next 2 or 3 months more, because of draconian measures that have been taken against parastatals, against, semi-public companies. Before now, all these companies were forced to open accounts at the government treasury, and much of their money was going to the government treasury. So the government has been using this money to pay civil servants first as priority, and then delay the payments of people who work in corporations, sometimes for a week or so, while they try to, pick crumbs from left and right, because borrowing sources are becoming thinner and thinner. And now even that isn't working anymore. So the government has now gone ahead to ask all public companies, all parastatals, to close all their accounts in all commercial banks and ship every single franc that's in those accounts into the government treasury, and everything of theirs will be managed in the government treasury. I'm about to die of laughter, because this is the recipe for failure we have been expecting. At the beginning of this struggle, there was a script. That script was really very much divine, because the script was clear that as the struggle progresses, there will come a time where Mr. Biya's government will not crumble just under the weight of the punches coming from the Amba people. He will not crumble only under the weight of the Amba punches. He will crumble because his very institutions will rise against him because of the difficulties that he will be facing. And we're already here. Take this. In the past, just 3 years back, when the government launched treasury bonds, sales of treasury bonds on the local market, if they wanted 300 billion, they ended up within 2 days with about 500 billion. And they'll start making a choice to, as to which bank or which group of business people to collect money from. Today, they launch even for 100 billion. It will go for 2 months. They are not able to, come across even 30 billion. This is because with all what we have been doing, the confidence that the business community had in the government treasury is eroding, and eroding very fast. That's why I say borrowing opportunities are thinning. Everything is going completely down the drains. You notice even with the public investment budget, you notice Paul Biya doesn't talk again about the public investment budget in his speeches, because he can't talk again. In the past, he used to complain it wasn't getting up to 50% at all. Now he can't even talk, because I'm not sure it gets even up to 15%. Because projects that were executed in 2016, until today, a lot of people have not been paid. So commercial banks, credit unions, and all that don't want to sponsor any business, again, that has to do with the government of La République du Cameroon. These are points that we are scoring. This is how you bring down an evil system, and then you earn your freedom. Now, would the economic cost be inflicted on that government more and more and more? Mr. Paul Biya is also losing his base. Look at what is happening. Just the past couple of days, we have heard of tough barons, untouchables in that regime being chased after. I'm sure we all heard about the spectacular show of the arrest of the former Minister of Water and Energy, Atangana Kuna, from Nigeria, and he was shipped back into Yaoundé. Now, you are hearing names you would never have suspected that Mr. Pobia will think of arresting. Now you are hearing of Peter Mafani Musonge. You are hearing of Laurent Esso. You are hearing of Minkwashe. You are all of those people. Even the almighty Belinga Ebutu is on the list. Who well? Just take note. Mr. Pobia fails to understand. These people have carted a lot of money from that country. Some of them individually are richer than all of Cameroon's resources put together. And so, they are not going to give Mr. Pobia a walk in the park. One of these days, you will understand that those same institutions are rising against him. All what we Southern Cameroonians and Bazodians need to do is continue to remain steadfast. La République is going to be doing all they can to infiltrate our ranks more and more because they have already done so. But now they are going to intensify attempts to divide us, to break down our credible people so that we should no longer listen to them. We should no longer trust them, so that we should rather spend time throwing stones at them than getting the important messages they will be giving to us. I want to tell them, and I want to tell Yaoundé and all those that they bring along, even though some of the fake prophets they bring along to tell us fake stories that come from their imaginations and they claim to be from God, that they didn't just fail yesterday. They have not just failed today. They have failed even tomorrow, and they will fail forever and ever because we are going. Take a look. The center, south, and east that have been the base, that have been the electoral base, that have been the stronghold of Mr. Pobia is bubbling seriously. And why? Because all of their elite are going to prison. Yes, Mr. Biya right now has a long list of over 20 of them that should not leave the country. Jean-Jacques Ndudumu, you already heard of the rector, of the former rector of the University of Douala, who is already in Kondengi. You have heard of Nkoto Emane, who is en route. You all sorts of names. You have heard of even the Director General of Cameroon Tribune, who is even still sitting in her office. She's supposed to be going to the criminal tribunal in Yaoundé one of these days. This is just an indication that the system is eating up itself. I remember one of my former lecturers, Professor Emmanuel Tatamenta, said that system will crash by eating up itself. And so what have we done? We have just engineered it. We have just pushed it, and we should just continue squeezing on the accelerator gently, and then we watch them crumble. Look at what is happening. The Bamileke people decided to align with Pobia against us. The Southern Cameroonians have provided them safe haven in the days that the French and Ahidjo were determined to annihilate them. They decided to line up with Mr. Biya, but look at what is happening to them. They are being cleared off the ranks. Oh yes, the one strong one, Mr. Ngano Jumesi, is on the list. He will be going to Kondengi one of these days. So what else will be left in that place? My dear brothers and sisters, discordant voices are coming up in the army on a daily basis. And why? Because Mr. Edgar Alain Mebengo stayed in that Department of Defense for a long time, and he built his personal militia within the militia. Just watch out. In the days ahead, it will be a very interesting drama in Yaoundé. That's why I say the revolution is going exactly according to the script. So there is total confusion on the way in that place. And so what should we do in preparation to take advantage of this massive confusion? I say so because if you like, read the social media, read everywhere, you will realize that the morale of the Francophones that was at an all-time high when they told them they were going to crush us within days only is dropping by the day. They are realizing that things are not the same again at all. Governor Kalia Bilai, who referred to us as dogs, now lives in Douala with his entire family and only sneaks into Boya, heavily protected, and sneaks out. Yes, this is an indication that the dogs have come of age, that their canines have gone too sharp, and the master is afraid. So why am I saying so? Because Governor Kalia Bilai has now confessed. He who swore that they were going to teach us a lasting lesson, he has now confessed that the Cameroon military can do nothing because they don't master our terrain. The underdevelopment they promoted in southern Cameroon has become their undoing. They don't have roads to gain access to our villages. They don't have means to get access into our forests. They cannot even access our boys left and right, and that is their own undoing. So the fact they are confessing to this difficulty tells us that all we need to do is remain steadfast. We are on the right track, very much on the right track. So let me point out to you that a lot of the civil servants from La République du Cameroon who are sit tight and not wanting to leave our territory don't want to hear about going to our territory again. No, 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 no. The place is no longer a gold mine. A good lot of them are running. A lot of them are now sick. Yes, they now have medical certificates with fallacious illnesses to make them leave our territory. The day of victory is coming. But you know the regrettable thing? The regrettable thing is that there are some councillors, both in the SDF and in the CPDM, who don't realize that we are almost there, who don't realize that they're about to stand on the wrong side of history. On this 25th day of March, we are going to be watching you out. We are going to be counting our friends and taking note of our enemies. Because as I said earlier, you are either with us or you are against us. We have made it clear that election is banned, just like any other election on the territory of the Southern Cameroon, Sambazonia. If you find yourself taking part in that election, you are not our friend. And I think it has been made abundantly clear to those who are candidates that they are going to be representing La République du Cameroon and working in La République du Cameroon, not on our territory, because we have said never again. We can't have any moment to be dealing with insensitive souls that claim to be representing us, that claim to be speaking for us, that claim to be working for and with us, whereas in their hearts and minds, they are totally against us, whereas greed will be their undoing. The 1 million CFA francs you are collecting wouldn't help you to protect you for life, wouldn't help your family, wouldn't help your wife and children. You are poor counselors, never taken care of. The only moment you'll be able to make it in life is stand with us, because we're going to create an egalitarian society. We're going to create a community where everyone will have the opportunity to make it because they know, because they have the craftsmanship, not because of who you know, not because of who will patronize you. All the dirt that we find in our midst, even in this revolution, will go away, and we'll have a much more better society. I know some people ask me, Mr. Akuro, but what do you count on? Why are you always looking so hopeful? I say, mind you, if you know what I know, if you hear in your ears what I hear daily, you will understand that we are winning. You will understand that we have won. You will understand that we are now only causing what has already been decided in the spirit to manifest in the physical. That's why Desmond Tutu says hope is being able to see that there is light despite the darkness all around you. And now, some so-called prophets who come up and claim to see Mr. Mba Akuro, meeting one Eric Chinje and having discussions with him, when I don't even recall any time in my life when I've ever met Eric Chinje one-on-one or spoken to him face to face. It reminds me of the proverbial, fake prophets or fake native doctors who fake people to come and stand and they claim that they're hearing. Because if such people are truly men of God, they will understand that such things never happen. If such people are truly men of God, God will tell them the truth. God doesn't tell people fabrications. And I want to remind you, I know that there is a lot of work being done out there to shut down John Mba Akuro so that I shouldn't talk again, because La République feels La République feels the pain each time I open my mouth, because they know that I know their machinations, because they know that I live right inside the heart of their system, because they know that I have access to information. They don't know how I do get it. And that is why they will use people, even in the revolution, to want to shut me down. But no one will shut me down. I'm here for the long haul. I will be here right until the day we get to Buea. Nobody, born of a woman, will determine what I do, how I do it, and when I do it. Let me remind such people, and take it from me very seriously, because I'm copying D.L. Moody, that lighthouses don't fire cannons to call attention to their shining. They just shine. God is with us.